Do you feel like your mother or your parents are narcissists? Well, I have a couple of videos of women explaining the signs of narcissistic mothers and just the toxicity of it all. I'll post those videos and then I'll be back with my commentary. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, and let's get it.
Narcissistic parents are much better when you're a child because you're helpless. You're easier to control and manipulate. When you become an adult, it gets a lot worse because now you can think for yourself, you can have your own opinions, and their ability to manipulate you is not as easy as it was when you were a helpless child who was just learning how to navigate life under your narcissistic mother's control. So yeah, absolutely, she's feeling threatened by the fact that you're able to think for yourself and realize that you don't have to be the extension of herself that she intended you to be.
The narcissistic mother. Let's talk about this one. Here we go. The narcissistic mother is sadistic. She takes complete pleasure in watching other people be miserable due to her behavior. Accountability? What's that to the narcissistic mother? There is absolutely no accountability. She's a victim of all victims and continues to be a victim throughout her entire life. She wants absolutely no family harmony whatsoever. She triangulates her children to no end. She is jealous if they get along. She wants to be the center of attention, but she doesn't want to be the center of a conversation, a true conversation about how evil she is and how evil she acts. She holds grudges forever. It could be years prior someone did something to her and she's still holding on to that thing. She'll do things like cut you out of pictures, not invite people on purpose, and just act nasty towards people for fun. The narcissistic mother is typically a rager. She rages for no good reason. She goes from 0 to 100. There is no in between. And the narcissistic mother is usually who develops the narcissistic child, typically the son, because she puts the son in a pseudo husband position in her life and treats him like her partner. She always has a golden child and she always has a scapegoat child. She has a child that she favors in front of the scapegoat child, and she makes it known to the scapegoat child that she loves the golden child more than them. She's physically abusive, verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, psychologically abusive, spiritually abusive, just damn abusive. Always gossiping, always talking negatively about people, never has a good thing to say about anybody, jealous, envious spirit, the most jealous and envious spirit you'd ever want to see. She probably doesn't have any real friends. If she has friends, they're very surface, superficial friendships where what she does is talk about people most of the time. She feels absolutely nothing for herself. She doesn't love herself. She doesn't know herself. And her identity is involved in her children. She lives vicariously through her children, controlling them at all angles and ends. All angles and ends. She wants in on everything, but brings nothing good to the table. She wants to be in the know all the time. And if you're not keeping her in the know, she guilt trips a lot. She triangulates her child against her grandchild because she doesn't want to see unity between them. She creates further narcissists in her grandchildren by creating that division between her child and their child. Yeah.
Narcissistic parents do not spend quality time with their children. And if they do take their children out, the children are having a poor time. The parent usually chooses to do something that the parent wants to do, not what the child wants to do. And the parent could be yelling at, fussing at the child the entire time while they are there, just ruining the child's mood, making them not have an enjoyable experience. Narcissistic parents want to have the image of looking like they are a loving, involved parent. But if you look real close or pay very close attention, they are doing so little and the bare minimum of spending time with their children. This looks like a narcissistic parent going out to eat at a restaurant with their child. And the entire time while they are sitting at the table, the narcissistic parent is in their phone, not really engaging, looking all around, not showing much interest in the child, not even talking to the child, not conversing with them, not asking the child how they are doing, how they are feeling, not speaking to them, just only focusing on themselves. And when their food gets there, all they do is chow down and eat, but they don't pay much attention to their child. You see, narcissistic parents, they want company so that they don't look lonely while doing activities, but they don't give their child the decency and respect to make the child feel welcomed in their presence. Or if the child does start talking to the parent, then the parent is very disinterested. They're not paying attention. They're not really listening. They're passively listening, giving them the yeah, okay. Just not giving the child the active attention that they deserve. What this does is it causes the child to feel even more abandoned and neglected that they already feel, because now it is happening at firsthand right in front of them. And by natural life, we can compare ourselves to others. And the child of a narcissistic parent can see other families laughing, joking, having a good time, enjoying each other's company. And they're looking at their experience and seeing how they are missing something. Narcissistic parents don't even like their children. They didn't even want their children. They only have their children just out of status and out of obligation and to make themselves look good. They have no interest in getting to know their child on a deeper level. They only know the child's surface level, and they only communicate with their child via surface level. The parent acts as if they are so annoyed by their child's presence. This makes a child feel as if they are unimportant, as if they are unwanted, as if they are unappreciated, as if they are unloved. They feel tolerated. They feel disrespected. And this further deepens their abandonment wounds and their mother and father wound. You were not the problem, and you deserved a parent that loved you.
Here are 3 signs that your mother and father ain't about shit. Sign number 1, they run their fucking mouths too much. You confide in them with something personal and very private, they'll turn right the fuck back around and tell your siblings, your cousins, your grandparents, and everybody knows your fucking business. That's because your mother and father are secretly envious of you. So they feel by leaking your personal business, it'll make you look bad and they'll feel better about themselves. Keep your motherfucking business to yourself. Stop running your mouth to your messy ass parents. Sign number 2, they play you against your siblings. This is called triangulation. They'll tell your brother and sister, that you was talking shit about them. So they could dislike you, and then they'll run and tell you that your siblings was talking shit about you. They love to see their children competing and fighting amongst each other, because when you run to your mom and dad and tell them what the fuck's going down, they get a high off of it. If your siblings run to your parents and tell them what the fuck went down, they get a high off of it. They get high off the fact they cause drama amongst their children. This is called triangulation. It's dangerous, and you need to cut everybody off. Sign number 3 is when they go against you and they side with your baby daddy, your boyfriend, your husband, knowing they're fucking abusive. Your family will fucking betray you. Your parents will fucking betray you. You go to them and tell them you're being abused, they will side with your motherfucking abuser. That means your mother and father are abusive, and they're trying to keep you stuck and in control by siding with your abuser. So it's everybody ganging up against you. Your parents are fucking toxic. You should have been cut them off. They ain't shit for siding with your abuser. Here's a bonus one. Number 4, your parents are financially abusive. Meaning they'll try to buy you to control you. They'll pay your bills or buy you gifts to control you, or they'll spoil your siblings and they won't do shit for you or your kids to punish you if you try to get away and keep them out your business. You don't let your parents control you, they're not going to spend no money or buy no gifts for you or your children. They're petty like that. Or if your parents are fucking broke, they'll try to move in your house, or they'll try to abuse you by taking money from you. They might steal your social security number and try to put shit in your name. They're financially abusive. So I wrote this book. This book is called My Family Can Kiss My Ass, and it is available on Kindle and Amazon in paperback. And if you're struggling to cut off your toxic parents and your family altogether, please go buy this book. You can click on the link in my bio and it'll take you to Amazon. I have 8 other books on narcissism too, but you need this book if your parents are getting on your fucking nerves.
Yo, imagine being a parent whose adult children cut all ties to you. They don't even speak to you anymore. They don't call you on your birthday. They don't plan anything for Mother's or Father's Day. They never even update you on your grandchildren's milestones, refuse to come to your bedside when you're chronically ill, never visit you in the nursing home. I mean, if they saw you in line at a Starbucks, they'd probably side-eye you for a minute and then pretend like they didn't even know you, all because you failed so fantastically, so monumentally at your job, your one job as the loving, supportive presence in their lives, that your children would rather dethrone you from quite arguably one of the most irreplaceable positions you could ever hold in another human being's life, voluntarily orphaning themselves, than spend one more millisecond of their time on Betty White's green earth, drowning themselves in your emotional immaturity. Couldn't be me.
Narcissistic parents or toxic parents rarely ever recognize their grown adult children as adults. And of course, if you're new here, I'm actually a clinically diagnosed narcissist. If you have a parent that is highly narcissistic or toxic or is an actual narcissist, you know exactly what I mean when I say they will never ever see you as an adult in their eyes. To them, you will always be their child, and to them, you will always owe them a debt. Like narcissistic parents, a lot of them feel like you owe them a debt for being born, for being raised, for the sacrifices that they made to give you everything that you have. They feel like your life is a loan that you will spend the rest of paying them back, like you owe me. So I can't see you as an adult. I always see you as my little child that owes me respect and owes me their life. No matter how old you are, you can be in your 50s and they can be in their 60s or 70s and still look at you as a child. Toxic, narcissistic parents rarely ever give their adult children the respect that they deserve.
I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I secretly would rather see you struggle than do well for yourself. The more you struggle, the more you have to rely on me, which means I get to control you. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I had children to cater to my ego. The purpose of having kids is to teach blind obedience to me, not for them to be their own people. I'm their ruler. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, you have to earn my love. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I've been emotionally unavailable your whole life. I didn't become a mom to meet your needs. I became a mom for you to meet mine. I'm a narcissistic mother. I can only love you for who I want you to be, not for who you are. As long as you do as I say, stick beside me in my toxic behavior, and participate in the fantasy I've created in my head, you have nothing to worry about, my love. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I'd rather impress strangers and give the idea of a perfect family instead of actually having a healthy family dynamic. I don't really care about having a healthy family dynamic. As long as I get to post and keep up my false image, I'm fine. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I play my children against each other and make them compete for my attention. I can never let them have a close relationship and leave me out the middle. Never. I'm a narcissistic mother. Of course, I'm going to be a seemingly loving grandmother, but only to one grandkid. I have to use the same manipulative tactics I used on my kids when they were younger. How else am I going to get them to compete for my love? I'm a narcissistic mother. I'll never apologize for the way I treated you, but I'll blame you for the way that you reacted.
Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you believe that narcissistic parents, mothers deserve grace? Right? Because sometimes I think it's due to how they were raised and how that shaped their personality. So I can understand that aspect. But it's very hard for these people to change once they get older. And sometimes the best for us to do is just to love them from afar. Now, I sometimes feel bad or for sad for these people because it's like maybe in their nature. At this point, it becomes their nature to even change. And and sometimes they want to change, sometimes they do not want to change. But the worst is when they don't want to change and they find ways to still blame the kid for their wrongdoings and etc. Now, those are the toxic of the toxic parents. Now, as a child, if you cut off your parents, they're gonna call you up, they're gonna call you names, they're gonna try to guilt trip you and whatnot. But sometimes you gotta do what's best for you and for your mental health and love them from afar. And some parents need to be completely cut off. I don't care. Some of them, they're very, not only physical abuse, they're physical abusive, they're mentally abusive, they hurt you spiritually. And sometimes they wonder, like, oh, what did I do for my child to dishonor me or whatever, without realizing how bad they actually are. And those extreme cases are the cases that I think, like, yeah, they need to be cut off. Because yes, but a certain extent, for regular behaviors, I really don't think um you should completely cut off for certain behaviors. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, I mean, not everybody's perfect, correct? So if you don't feel like it hurts you to the degree of your mental health to be completely deteriorated, for your physical, for your mental, spiritual to be completely deteriorated, if you feel like you can give them some grace and still love them from afar, maybe teach them the other ways. Or I'm always for make sure you amend those relationships first before you completely give up. Okay, so I feel like as kids, do your best, pray for your parents, make sure you talk to them, recommend them to therapists, recommend them, give them the insight of what they're doing. Sometimes they don't know what they're doing. If you try all of those methods, you pray, you do this, you do that, you do that, and then they still don't want to listen and they still want to continue doing their own thing, then that's when I feel like you should love them from afar. Make sure you set boundaries, and then worst case scenario, just cut them off if they're at some point like dangerous to you or to your child. Right? I feel like if they're physically abusive, or something very extreme, I feel like those extreme measurements, those extreme cases will cause you to at least cut them off completely. Okay, so make sure, let me know what you guys think on the comments down below. Okay, would you cut off your narcissistic parents? Did you ever cut off one of your parents, and how is that going for you? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear your experiences and your thoughts on this. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you know when I post. See you next time.